Facebook just announced their new cryptocurrency, Libra. And today is June 18th, and there has been massive movement in the news. I've been getting a lot of questions from my students, from the news media alike, about what is Libra, how is Facebook planning to use it as a cryptocurrency, and how does it compare to Bitcoin and Ripple, for example, and is it a threat to any other cryptocurrencies? Is it going to succeed? So I wanted to just I've been going through their white paper, and I've been basically thinking about how this is different. So I wanted to just give you a rundown of what I think. First, let's get started with what Facebook is trying to do. In my opinion, is it's doing the ingenious thing. They are trying to ride on the hype and around blockchain technology and cryptocurrency and use it to their advantage. Keep in mind that Facebook has been banning cryptocurrency advertisements on their platform for over a year now. So that truly shows how well Facebook is, again, aiming to become the monopoly in the cryptocurrency field. And basically is trying to do what it did to MySpace. Remember, MySpace was actually the original social media. Facebook sold the idea and created Facebook and has been incredibly successful. Nobody hears about MySpace anymore. And it is interesting because everybody has been comparing Bitcoin to MySpace, thinking that, all right, Bitcoin was the original one. It has the ideology. It has the technology behind it. It has a lot of flaws. And therefore, there could be another cryptocurrency that could come in and become the new Facebook. And guess what? This cryptocurrency could very well be Facebook. Now, let me get down to business and see if Facebook's Libra is even a cryptocurrency. So how is it different than Bitcoin? There are so many different, I'm going to get into Bitcoin in a little bit because, I literally wrote a book about it. So I'm going to actually read chapters on Bitcoin and Ripple and show how it is different. Let's first go to what Libra is. So Libra is a proof of stake, is going to use a proof of stake blockchain, but it is going to be a stable coin. So this is very interesting because yes, a lot of the concerns about Bitcoin is its volatility, and we saw the hype in 2017 that Bitcoin went up and then came down, and a lot of people lost money. So a lot of people became suspicious of Bitcoin because of its volatility. So now Libra wants to be a stable coin, which means that it's going to be pegged to a basket of currencies, including the US dollar and the euro. Now, I fundamentally have a problem with stable coins to begin with, because if you're going to be pegged to a fiat currency, to a US dollar, then why even create a cryptocurrency? Just use the US dollar. It doesn't make any sense to me to have a cryptocurrency that is pegged to another fiat currency, because the whole goal of cryptocurrency is to not use a government-backed currency. So that is ludicrous, in my opinion, in terms of if you want to label it crypto, then don't peg it to a fiat. So that's why I think that Facebook is using the word crypto just so that it can benefit itself. And it probably will succeed, because guess what? Facebook has been basically in every hot field right now that you can think of. It's using artificial intelligence for its data and its advertisers. It's using now the blockchain technology, another hot area. It has all the data in the world, which is basically, well, Google and Facebook are the ones who hold your data, whether you like it or not. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, we don't like Facebook, but guess what? All these haters are like, oh, I don't like Facebook, is invading my privacy, but they might be on Instagram or on WhatsApp, and not knowing that, hey, Facebook actually owns these platforms. So Facebook has put itself very smartly in a position that you cannot avoid it. And now they are basically getting into a field that is probably going to turn them into a country, a completely centralized country that has an actual economy and has access to all of your data, which is something that is literally what the blockchain technology in Bitcoin is trying to crush. Blockchain technology in Bitcoin is trying to create a society that is peer-to-peer, that is not backed by a centralized entity. But Libra is going to be backed, no matter how awesome their blockchain is, and they're going to put 100 people in developing the blockchain, and they have all the partnerships with MasterCard and PayPal and Uber, and all of this is great. And guess what? They probably are going to succeed, but this is not a true cryptocurrency in a sense, what people fell in love with. You know, what people fell in love with cryptocurrencies, people who actually are active in the cryptocurrency world fell in love with it because they wanted to move away, shift away from a central entity that is going to, you know, have access to their data, that is going to be in charge of their stuff. Now, Facebook not only is going to completely ignore that, it's going to become the entity, because Facebook users, if you combine all the population of Facebook, is bigger than the US and China combined. The data that they have, Facebook knows where you go shopping, what your habits are. Believe me, trust me, I use Facebook as an advertising platform, and the amount of data that they can provide you to really select who you're going to target as a customer, which is great for me. It's enormous, because they have all the psychology technology behind it. The AI, the artificial intelligence, learns each and every individual who's active either on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. And now they're going to basically monetize it. So guess what? This is going to help Facebook to not rely on advertisers' money anymore. This is going to create a whole new economy within itself. And they have built, I mean, they probably, I don't know how long they've been thinking about cryptocurrency. I'm guessing that when Mark Zuckerberg first started Facebook, he wasn't thinking about turning it into a bank, but he set it up in a way that is now in the perfect position to turn it into a centralized global bank. Now, I know that a lot of people who are now the fans are going to say, well, no, the blockchain is going to be separate, then Facebook is going to be run by a nonprofit. Who are you kidding? This is going to be Facebook. They're trying to deassociate themselves from this blockchain and nonprofit because of all the backlash that Facebook has got for privacy meddling and all the things that they had to go through in 2016. And again, I mean, kudos to Facebook in the sense that they have been able to turn every and each bad publicity into something that is now coming into positive for them. So as an investor, if I put on my investor hat on, because I am the investor, but after all, well, this is obviously great for Facebook stock, and that's the reason why we saw the 17% jump in Facebook stock. Again, this could be a buy the rumors, sell the news thing. So we really have to wait until the middle of 2020 to see what Libra actually is going to provide. But from what I'm reading right now in the white paper is that it's going to be something that you can spend basically across WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. And sending money is going to be as easy as sending a photo. So they're combining the idea of Bitcoin with Venmo and PayPal and bringing it all together in one place, to the place that they have basically the world's data. So this is going to be great for Facebook in terms of, okay, more people probably are going to want to join Facebook, because if somebody wants to pay me using Libra, and no matter how much I hate Facebook, if that is the way that they're going to pay me, I'm going to join Facebook, right? Think about it in 5 years, because I know a lot of my friends are now, oh, I don't want to use Facebook. I'm off Facebook. I'm not using Facebook. But I didn't like Venmo. Like, I was like, whatever. I didn't want to download another app. But then my friends wanted to pay me in Venmo, and we went out, and I had no choice basically to download Venmo. So this is basically what's going to happen, in my opinion, when Libra comes out. And the idea of itself is genius. I'm not saying the ideology behind it is great. I think it sucks because it takes away from what Bitcoin was trying to achieve. But they have the branding behind them, and they have the infrastructure, they have the data, and they have the money. Now, I know I promised that I tell you how Bitcoin works and how Ripple works, because I wanted to talk a little about Ripple. So Ripple is another cryptocurrency. If you've read my book, you know it's something that some Bitcoin enthusiasts don't consider a cryptocurrency for the same reason that you wouldn't consider Libra a true cryptocurrency. But the difference is that at least Libra does use proof of stake for their blockchain. XRP, Ripple's XRP, Ripple also, so that's very interesting. Ripple, the company, also tries to disassociate itself from Ripple's currency, XRP, for the same regulatory fears. And they say, oh, we just happen to own a lot of Ripple. We just happen to own a lot of XRP, but we're different. And the reason why, myself was kind of interested in Ripple was because of their partnership with the banks. And is Libra going to hurt Ripple? These are two different cryptocurrencies in a sense of their purpose. Ripple's purpose is provide services, transaction services to infrastructures, to banks on an enterprise level. But Ripple is a consumer-based product. It's a consumer-based payment system, so they're in different categories. They're similar in the sense that they're backed by a centralized company, and they have a lot of big partnerships. Now, of course, Facebook has partnerships with a little bit more familiar brands, such as MasterCard and PayPal. And so a lot of people might actually, people who are non-believers in Bitcoin might actually trust Libra more than anything, including Ripple. So in the long run, if Libra is a success, I honestly don't know how it would really impact Ripple. I think Ripple's true competition is JP Morgan's cryptocurrency, because that is what is the true category that is competing. JP Morgan's cryptocurrency is created so that JP Morgan, again, by the way, the person, the company whose CEO, Jamie Dimon, in 2017 called Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies a fraud, and now they're on to creating their own cryptocurrency to utilize between company transactions. So that is the true danger to Ripple. I think Libra actually is directly competing with Bitcoin, and now it's kind of divided. Of course, Bitcoin enthusiasts love Bitcoin for so many reasons, including the fact that it is not backed by anybody. The community is great. It's peer-to-peer. You can send money to any country. So using the Lightning Torch, you can actually send money from the U.S. to countries that the U.S. actually is sanctioning, like Iran is where I'm from, and then from Iran to Israel, another country that Iranian government completely loathes, right, and hates and doesn't approve of any sort of transaction. So that is the beauty of Bitcoin. But this cannot happen with Facebook's Libra. You cannot bank the underbanked with Facebook's Libra, because you're going to need more than just a smartphone in order to make transactions. And of course, I know a lot of people are concerned about security and criminals using WhatsApp to exchange money. Criminals can still exchange money wherever they want to go. So that is literally the least of my problems when it comes to cryptocurrencies as a whole. But Facebook is not resolving the issues that cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin came to resolve. Banking the underbank, getting rid of a centralized middleman who has access to all of your data. It is actually the opposite of that. So will it be a success? Probably. Is it a true cryptocurrency? Considering the ideology? Probably not. Now, how is Libra different than Bitcoin and Ripple? I'm going to actually I did a lot of research on this in Cryptocurrency Investing for Dummies. I'm going to read it directly from my book. So Ripple versus Bitcoin, some of the key differences is, first of all, ownership and decentralization. As I talked about before, Bitcoin is owned by no particular person or entity, and Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency, is pretty much the same as Bitcoin, the open source platform. That's why Bitcoin is highly decentralized and open source, owned by a community that agrees on changes. This setup can make upgrades though, and that is why Bitcoin has had a ton of forks, right? So, but Facebook and Ripple, in that sense, they are a private company. Ripple is called Ripple Labs. Facebook is called Facebook, and now they have this completely different blockchain, nonprofit blockchain. They're trying to say that is different than Ripple, the digital asset. Ripple's digital asset is called XRP and is also owned by Ripple Labs. The company constantly looks to please everyone, especially its partners, and come up with consensus, which can allow for faster upgrades. It has a system with which the developers seek consensus before making changes to the network. In most cases, if an amendment receives 80% support for 2 weeks, it comes into effect, and all future ledgers must support it. Basically, Ripple is a democracy that tries to avoid hard forks and nasty splits. And I'm assuming that the same is going to be done with Libra. I do think that they're going to take Ripple's ideology and their system into consideration when they come to their blockchain democracy. Another thing that Libra is different than Bitcoin. as well as Ripple, is transaction speed and fees. Number of transactions per second. Again, Ripple and Bitcoin are different. At any given second, you can make around 10 Bitcoin transactions, but Ripple raised the number to 1,500. Libra is trying to make it even higher. So while Libra, in a sense, is a lot similar to Ripple, but it also has a bit of a mix and match when it comes to other cryptocurrencies that got a bunch of other existing blockchains ideas and have amended it to their own blockchain. So like Bitcoin, there's no real identity on the blockchain. At least they claim that. We don't know because, well, we all know that Facebook is the god of stealing your data. The consensus structures for Libra will be dozens of organizations that will run nodes on the network validating transactions. It has an on-chain governance like Tezos, that the only entities that can vote are the founding members. So that, again, takes away from what Bitcoin was truly created to take away power from one centralized founding members. Like Ethereum, it has a proof of stake, and it makes the currency programmable. So that is something that I actually do like about it. It doesn't allow burning to enhance the value of its coin. Rather, the tokens will be issued and burned constantly as the association responds to the demands or shift its reserve with no supply, maximum or minimum supply. So these are some of the differences between Libra and Bitcoin, Ripple, and some likelihoods to other cryptocurrencies. But as I said, at the end of the day, the ideology of Libra is very different than what Satoshi Nakamoto had envisioned for Bitcoin. I'm Ken Danielle, CEO of Invest Diva and the author of Cryptocurrency Investing for Dummies. I have a lot of great information about how Bitcoin, Ripple, and all the other cryptocurrencies work and how you can invest in them. And I'll continue to add on to this book actually on the Dummies website as well as on Invest Diva. So make sure to tune in. I'll see you in my next video.